Welcome to Azur Lane Meta. Today we are going to be doing a gem guide. Welcome back, guys. Today we are going to be doing a gem guide where we talk about how to get free gems, what the price of gems is if you want to pay real money, and what is our priority with how we're going to spend our gems depending on what your budget is. So let's first take a look at the free gems. Azur Lane is a free-to-play friendly game, largely because they do give a fair amount of free gems. If you guys don't know what gems are, they are the in-game currency that translates to um, real currency. So beginners start with about 500 gems. They get 250 gems for 3-starring a whole world chapter on hard mode. And there are currently 12 chapters in the English game, 13 in the Japanese game. We're soon, this month, just announced, we will get the 13th chapter in English. There will be a 14th chapter coming out eventually. So for the sake of argument today, we're going to assume there are 13 chapters, although currently there are 12 in the English. There will be the 13th. So at 250 gems per chapter, 13 chapters, that's 3,250 gems. Then for collection clears, there are bands of ship girls that if you limit break them, you get gems as a bonus. If you get all of them, that is 600 potential gems there. So those are the set in stone ways to get gems. That is 4,350 gems that we are set in stone to get. Another 250 whenever World 14 releases. But there are two other ways to get gems. One is Apollo gems. These are usually in increments of 100 or 200 gems. There is no way to kind of tell of their frequency. They happen whenever an update happens that has enough bugs that the dev feels sorry enough to award us with Apollo gems. So these are substantial over time. In the last 9 months or so, there have been quite a few Apollo gems. There might be less in the future as they start to have less errors and things like that. There might be things like events also that give gems in the future. This is kind of a category that is not, you cannot predict when these will happen. And the other reason why we're not going to attribute them to our budget is if you're a new player starting today, you don't have access to any of the gems that were given in past updates. Finally, you can get gems from commissions. These are a very small percentage of your gems and occur at very rare rates. During an event, usually during an event, if you play a lot, they'll award you with a special commission. That special commission has a small chance of giving you plus or minus a few gems, about 11 gems. 11 gems is not enough to buy pretty much anything, and given that you're gonna see this maybe once during an event, and then I don't even know what the drop rate for the gems are because I haven't seen this commission come up enough to be able to test what the rates are. It's going to be pretty negligible to your total gem rate, but it is worth noting that you can get gems from commissions. So you see that $47.02 value approximated. How do we get to that value? Let's look at how you can buy gems. So if you were to convert your money into gems, so these right here are what you can currently purchase in the gem packages. Now sometimes they might give sales or something like that, so this increases the amount of gems that you can get per dollar. Also note that if it is your first time purchase, they will double the gems that you receive. So the best rate of gems per dollar you can get is if you buy the $80 package for the first time, because bundling, they give you deals on bundling or buying in bulk, basically. And so that is 185 gems about per dollar at the max rate. The lowest rate is like 60 3.61 gems per dollar. And what the LT is the long-term average. We assume that over the long term, if you continue to purchase and you kind of give away the super sales and the deals of first-time purchases, which I believe reset after a year, um, your long-term average is looking at a little over 90 gems per dollar, US dollar. And so that's how we get the $47 value above, is using that long-term rate if you were to consistently buy gems. So now let's look with our budget. We have 4,350 gems plus however many dollars you want to spend. We can look at gem expenditures. So everything here is what is listed for what we can purchase with gems. And I have ordered them in what my personal opinion is the priority of gem expenditures. So dorm slot 3 and dorm slot 4 cost a total of 800 gems. These are pretty much requirements to play the game, in my opinion. Over the long term, those two slots will create so much extra experience points, as well as morale, which leads to experience points, as well as decor coins, which leads to happiness. Just a lot more useful for getting those two slots, and it's pretty cheap. And the dorm second floor is also somewhat important for players who tend to play a lot. If you plan on playing a lot, the 500 gems for the dorm second floor will allow you to basically double the amount of dorm slots you have for morale boosting. Now, the second floor is not going to increase any of their experience passively, but it will increase their morale, which will increase their experience rate, and also will allow you to battle more before getting the red morale, which will decrease your affinity. So for players who plan on playing a lot, or through that plan on grinding events very hardcore, the second floor is very important. It is potentially, if you plan on playing you plan on just doing the minimum time management guide every day that I mentioned in my other video, but you don't plan on grinding events really hard or playing a ton, uh, then the second floor could be somewhere you could cut, although I'm not recommending that. It could be somewhere you cut. The dorm fifth slot is 800 gems, so it's a lot more gems than the other two slots. That's one of the reasons why it's lower on the priority list, because going from 2 to 3 is a big difference. 3 to 4 is still a decent difference given the cost, but 4 to 5 is a smaller difference, and it's a lot more expensive. And if we're going on a free-to-play budget, it does matter, and we'll see that in a second here. The Academy slot plus 1 slot, this allows you to give your skills more frequently. You get 2 Academy slots in general. You can buy a third one. This does not seem important to me. Realistically, there are less than 400 ships in the game, but for argument's sake, let's say 400 ships in the game, and most of them have 2 to 3 skills. So you're talking between 400 and 1200 skills that you have to level up. You can do 2 at a time. You're gonna run out of skills before this becomes relevant. Dock expansions. Because you can retire ships and you remember their fleet technology and you remember them for the collection rate, and realistically there's only a small section of meta ships that you are going to be using for PvP and PvE it's less than 150, because that is, you start with 150 slots. Dock expansions are not necessary because they're not 150 plus meta ships, so you can just do that. However, it is very annoying to have to retire ships in the middle of sorties. And so if you want to avoid that, you can buy dock expansions. Also, there are, like I said, almost 400 ships in the game. So with 150 slots to begin with, you need to buy 250 slots, basically, more or less, especially as new events come out. Will eventually break 400. You'll have to buy that many slots to have every ship in the game. I don't know, some of those people who want to make meme videos and show off all of their sandies in their dock need to buy a lot of dock space. So dock space is one where that is a personal decision. I bought 2 two upgrades of dock expansions on my account. That was more before I knew or did any of this. This was early on. I just thought buy dock expansions. Um, I don't know if that would be for everybody. You can definitely get by with buying none of these. A lot of people choose when they like the game to take their money and spend it on these because it makes your gaming experience a little bit easier, makes it better. Um, and it certainly does have its benefits if you are trying to go for fleet power rankings is by purchasing these. So fleet power rankings in some regards you do need to pay for the dock expansions to get up to the upper levels if you're going for those type of rankings. And at 200 or at 10 slots, you're going to need to buy 25 dock expansions to get every ship, and that would be, at 200 gems a piece. Um, that's 5,000 gems. That's more than the total free gems that you're going to get. So 5,000 gems, we're talking give or take $50 that you're going to have to spend on dock expansions if you want those. Storage expansions, useless. Don't purchase them. I made the mistake of doing this. Basically, you have 5 slots in every ship that you have that can have equipments in them, and those equipments do not go towards your storage. So basically, if you need to get storage expansions for whatever reason, you buy the dock expansion that gives you 10 ship slots. Each of those ship slots gives you 5 equip slots. Those 5 equip slots for 200 gems versus 50 because you get 10 extra ship slots. So you get 50 equip slots for 200 gems versus the 10 equip slot or 20 equip spots for 100 gems. So the value is actually better for equips to buy the dock expansion. Now, certainly if all of your spares are auxiliary and then you can only equip 2 auxiliary to a ship, and there are some nuances to it, but basically the dock expansion is more valuable, and you shouldn't be needing like hundreds of storage expansions because the good ones you should be equipping and the bad ones you should be retiring, or I guess destroying, disassembling. Cat expansion, there are 30 basic cats they give you in the game, or 30 slots they give you for the cat expansion, and there are less than 30 cats in the game. That should be self-explanatory. Food supply expansion. You have no real need to do this unless you plan on being logged out for a long amounts of time and you have a lot of money to spend on the game. There's a lot of better things that you could spend. Yeah, basically, right now I think it's like 8 to 10 hours that you can load up on food. So if you don't plan on logging in for those hours and you think that's there, I guess, but it's not really good. Coins are really bad value, and you really only should pick them up if it's the last day of an event with an exclusive ship that you want and RNG has not been friendly to you, and you need to purchase more rolls. That's really the only situation you buy coins in, and you should be so stocked up on coins. If you do what my time management video does every day, you should never have an issue with coins. You should just be stocked up and you shouldn't have to purchase. But if you can't do that, but you still want to get an event exclusive ship and you've not been lucky with the rolls, you can purchase coins, I guess. Or if you want to do a YouTube video and buy a ton, then you're going to probably have to purchase coins. Oil, same thing, only worse. Basically, if you grind an event or you haven't grinded an event which you want to finish to get an award, basically, this is the only time you buy oil. And even then, oil, I always seem to have plenty of oil. Maybe at the very end of an event that I've grinded does it go down, but then you just have to fix your oil efficiency fleets. There's a lot of ways to get fleets that don't really consume oil faster than the rate that you're regenerating at, let's say, level 80. Wisdom cubes, they're the equivalent to coins effectively. You know, they're not hard to accumulate. I think I have over 500 at this point waiting for Yamato to drop. So, yeah. Quick finishes, completely worthless. Funny side note, I have bought quick finishes with gems on my account by mistake. It was a misclick. So, don't do that. I have thousands of them. You don't need them ever. Name changes. If you need the name change, I guess. Emergency repair. You get one free one per day, and if you bring a Kashi or the other repair ship, Vestal, uh, you get 3 extra ones. So you should not have to pay gems for this. Skins. Skins can range anywhere from 500 to 1180 gems currently. Most sit in the range about 800. They have no effect on the game. They change, obviously, the skin, they change the dialogue lines, they change the chibi, thing like that. If you like the skins, you can use them. This is one of the games that I say is not pay to win, but it's pay to look good. So if you are somebody that loves the skin and want to support the game, this is a great way. You use your real money to purchase a skin. But in terms of if we're trying to play on a free-to-pay budget, you should not be buying skins. This is there. So let's talk about promise rings here. How many do we buy? So here I have the cost of a promise ring being 490 gems. If you look at the store, you'll see there'd be 600. And that is because, well, their standard is 600, but every once in a while they have 2 for 980. So that is the special package we want to get, especially if we're on a free-to-play budget. So we are going to be looking to put an even number here in how many we want. So if we just purchase 2, that we still have a remaining balance of free gems. So if we go to 4, we actually go over budget on our free to play gems. So something we're going to remove is the Academy. So now we're back in budget. So you can buy 4 promise rings on the free to play budget, and then you get 1 for free from completing missions. Now, if you remove if you want to go to 6 promise rings, you'll have to remove the 5th dorm slot. And this is a trade-off that you might need to make, because basically here you have to go to 6 rings, you have to remove your 5th dorm slot from your purchase package. Now, you could just pay for the gems with real money and then you'll have enough. But if you want to be on completely free to play budget, you have to take off that 5th dorm slot for the promise rings to get to 6. And why 6 is important, and really it's 7, but why 6 is important is if you want to have a full PvP team with promise rings, which is important if you want to get the metagame, is to have a full team of 6. So, I have 6 promise rings. That is kind of how I went with my account, because I wanted to have a full team for PvP with promise rings, because that 12% boost is important. So just to keep it in mind, there are a lot of different ways to spend, but if you want to have 6 promise rings, that's what you need to be able to do. And that's kind of what this tool is for. Potentially, because you get 1 free, you could buy 4 promise rings and then buy the 5th one for 600, and that would leave you with 490 gems, which would not get you that dorm slot back. However, if you were able to get Apollo gems in a couple updates, then that would give you enough for that 5th dorm slot. So there are ways to kind of get it there if you want to finagle it. But that is the ways that you can spend gems. That is how much gems cost. That is the ways that you get free gems. So hopefully this helps you in deciding how to utilize your most important resource in Azur Lane, which is gems. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was informative and helped you guys make intelligent spending decisions on your limited budgets.